YouTube channel. So this is my first tutorial video and I'm so excited about it. So today we're making a tennis pleated skirt. This skirt, I've never made this skirt before. This is my first time of trying it. So like I said in my first video, I told you all that I'm still in training, and this channel is basically for people, for fashion designers that are also still in training, self-taught fashion designers that are learning online, you get. So I want us to learn this. I saw this skirt and I fell in love with it. I totally fell in love with it and I wanted to try it out. So I was like, okay, let me just shoot a video. Let me not do it alone and shoot a video and show you guys how I did it. So I don't know how the skirt will look like by the end of this video. I don't, because I just hope it comes out nice, and I'm sure you'd gain a lot. So let's dive right in. So guys, welcome back. Like I said earlier, we're making a pleated tennis skirt. So this is the fabric we'll be using. This is the crepe material. I have my scissors here. I have my chalk and my fork, because we are using a fork to achieve the pleats. I have my fork. I have my pleats. This is very important. I have my pins. I have my jotter and my pen, and also I have my calculator for calculation. So like I said earlier, the measurements we need is our waist measurement, and our length, our skirt length. My waist measurement is 25 inches and my skirt length is 18 inches. So to achieve the length of the fabric I'll be cutting, I have to multiply my waist by 3. You know, you cannot use your exact waist measurement. You cannot cut out your exact waist measurement because you are pleating it. So I have to multiply my waist by 3. Why do you have to multiply your waist by 3? Why 3? Because when you pleat, it comes like this. Like this is where you are picking. You are bringing it here. So 3 materials. There are 3 segments of the pleat. 1, 2, and 3. That's why you have to, most often time they tell you to multiply your waist by 3. A lot of us don't know the reason why we are multiplying our waist by 3. It is basically because the pleats are in 3 segments. So my waist multiplied by 3 is 75. Then I'm going to divide 75 by the width of my pleats. I want my pleats. You can always pick any width you want. You can go as far as 2 inches, 3 inches. But my own, for this tutorial, I'll be using 1.25 for my pleat width. So 1.25 divided 75 divided by 1.25 is 60. 60 is divisible by 3. 60 divided by 3 is 20. Whatever answer, whatever number you're going to get when you divide your width, the length of your fabric by the width of your pleat, it has to be divisible by 3. If you multiplied your waist by 4, whatever number you're going to get has to be divisible by 4, because we are pleating into 3 segments so as to have accurate measurements. So it has to be divisible by 3. So like I said earlier, the width of my fabric will be 75. That's 25 multiplied by 3. So I already cut it out, and my fabric was not enough, so I had to join here. My fabric was 60 inches long, so I had to join here. I had allowance, half-inch allowance, and I joined. And also, you know, my skirt length is 18. So what I did, I added 1.5 to the length, because half-inch for joining the band and 1 inch for the hem. So I already hemmed my fabric. I used 1 inch. So my half-inch for my band is still here. So the measurements, the length I have here is basically 18.5.
So one more thing, guys. So I told you that the length of my fabric is 75, but actually what is there is 77. I added 2 inches. I added 2 inches for my zip allowance, 1 inch at one end and the other 1 inch, at the other end. So that's 2 inches. The skirt does not have joining. It's just the back, the zip part that you are joining. So the next thing I'm doing now, guys, is that I want to mark out, My pleat width is 1.25, so I want to mark out 1.25 all through the fabric so that I would have an accurate length, so that the width of my pleat would be accurate. So I'm going to mark out. Some people don't mark it out. If you are perfect, if you think you can do it, then there's no need. So there's no need. You can always use your eyes to gauge it. But for me, I will be marking it out. So the first thing I'll be marking out here is my zip allowance. My 1-inch zip allowance is the first thing I'll be marking out here. So from there, that's how I'll start marking out my 1.25 all through the fabric. So I'll be marking out 1.25 from that 1-inch end. So this is my 1.25 on the tape rule. So that's where I would put on that 1-inch part that I chalked out. Then I'll measure another 1.25, and that's basically how I would do it till I exhaust the fabric. So I'm done marking out, and the next thing for me now is to pleat my fabric. So I need my pins to hold the pleat down. So I need as much pin as possible because I don't know the number of the pleats I'll have. So I have to have lots of pins on my table with me. Now I'll start using my fork to pleat.
So watch this, guys.
So
I'm
going to start from that 1.25 that I marked.
Yeah.
The first 1.25 that I marked, not from the 1-inch that I marked. So I'm going to put my fork. Can you see how I'm putting the fork? One part of the fork under the fabric, and I'm sorry guys, the fabric was just coming off the table. I don't know why. So I'm going to put the fork inside. The fabric came off again. I'm so sorry guys. So
this one is going to enter.
So that part of the fork is going to, that one part of the fork is going to enter under the fabric, and I'm going to carry it. I'm going to skip the one next to it and carry it to the third one. So the one next to it is going to be like the chalked part that is next to it would be meeting the 1-inch part that I marked. Do you get it, guys? So you are going to skip the one in the middle, and you are going to bring it to the third part. So I pinned it down, and I'm going to do the same to the next one.
Then you come here again.
So I'm going to put my fork again under, and I'm still going to skip the one beside it and carry it to the third one. So the one that I skipped, is going to be, so I don't know, it came off again. Then I would do the same thing I did before. So I'm going to skip the one in the beside it, and I'm going to move to the next one, and I'm going to pin it down again.
This chalked part, and
so the part that I skipped, that part in the middle that I skipped, is going to be meeting the first pleat that we did. That's what I was trying to use my hand to illustrate here. So it's going to meet the one the first one that we pleated. Now I'll pin it down again, and I'll move on to the next one.
So this one too, I'm going to put my fork here and bring it, skip this one also and bring it here. This chalked part is going to meet this chalked part.
So I'll be doing the same thing again. I'll put my fork under and skip the second one and move on to the third one. Then I'll also pin it down. like I said in the beginning, this is my first time of making this kind of pleated skirt. So I noticed that the fork is actually not necessary. If you want to use it, you can always use it. But I noticed that I can actually use my hand to form the pleats. I don't really need to use the fork. But if you want to use the fork, no problem with that. It's your preference. But me, I think I would be using my hand to pleat it all through. So if you want to use your hand, it's just the same way you were using the fork. So you pick the first one, skip the one next to it and move on to the third one, and you pin it down. So I'm done pleating the fabric. The next thing I'm going to do is to test the accuracy of the pleat. I'm going to put it around my waist and check if it fits. Yeah, so it fits. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to iron out the pleat. So I'll go to the ironing table now and I'll show you the results. So my pleats are perfectly ironed out now, and I also pinned down the hem of the dress so that it will not be moving around. So the next thing I'll be doing now is that I'm going to sew down my pleats with the sewing machine, and I'm going to remove the pins. So I'll be sewing it with the 1/2 inch allowance that I added. So guys, I'm done sewing the pleats down with the 1/2 inch, and the next thing I'll be doing now is to mark out 4 inches from the 1/2 inch that I sew. So it can go as high as 6 inches, 8 inches. It depends on what you want. So I'm marking down 4 inches on each of the pleats. On each of the pleats, I'm marking down 4 inches and from the 1/2 inch that I sew. So guys, please watch me and pay close attention to what I'll be doing. So I'll be marking from that 1/2 inch allowance. I'll be going down by 4 inch, and that's how I'll just mark it on each of the pleats all through. So I'm done marking the 4 inches all through the pleats. So after I marked out my 4 inches all through the pleats, I went to my sewing machine and sew it down from the beginning of from the top of the skirt to the 4 inches that I marked. I sew it at the edge of each pleat. And like I said earlier, it totally depends on you. If you want to use 4 inches, if you want to use 6 inches, it is what you want. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to measure my waist. You know my waist is 25 plus 2 inches. So I'm supposed to have 27 on my waist. So I'm going to mark it. I'm going to check it now. I'm going to check what I have on the waist now. So I got more than 27, and for accuracy's sake, so I had to check it again to check what I have again. So I have 27 and half, so I can still manage it. So the next thing I'll be doing is to join my band. I have my band is 28 inches long, and the width is 5 inches. 4 inches, I want my band to be 2 inches, so if folded into 2, that's 2 inches. That's why I add 4 inches plus 1 inch for the joining of the band. So I want to show you how I would be fixing my band. So I'll be using the right side. The right side of my band is going to be facing the wrong side of my skirt. Right side of the band is going to be facing the wrong side of the skirt, and I'm going to sew it down on ½ inch, the ½ inch that I sew it down with the other time. So that's the line I'm going to follow. So what I'm doing now is just to pin the band to the skirt all through, so as to have a stable fabric, so my fabric won't be moving around by the time I'm sewing. I'm done pinning the band to the skirt, and next thing I'll do now is to go to my sewing machine and sew it down on that ½ inch. Follow that line, that ½ inch that I sewed down the other time. So guys, I'm done sewing the band to the skirt, and next thing I'll be doing now is to bring out the band. Remember, I sewed the right side of the band facing the wrong side of the skirt, so I'm going to bring that right side of the band out to the right side of the skirt. You see what I do? That's the wrong side of the skirt, so when I bring the band out, that's the right side of the skirt. So the right side is now facing the wrong side, so I'm going to take in ½ inch. Remember, I added 1 inch allowance to the band. I'm going to take in the second ½ inch, and I'm going to sew it straight down. I like to sew my skirt from the front, from the right side, so that I will have an accurate line, a straight line, because sometimes if I sew from the back, I'm always making some kind of mistake. So I'm sewing from the right side of the skirt. I'm sewing down with that ½ inch going in. Guys, trust me to pin down my band before I sew it. So I just pinned down my band, and I'm going to take it to the sewing machine now, and I'm going to sew it down. I'm done fixing the band to the skirt, and I ironed it out. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to fix the zip. We had 1 inch sewing allowance, zip allowance at the two ends, so I'm going to sew down 1 inch from the hem of the skirt up to where I want my zip to end, 8 inches. I want my zip to be 8 inches long, so from that 8 inches down to the hem of the skirt, I'm going to sew down 1 inch, and then I'm going to fix my zip. So the zip, I wanted to use an invisible zip, but I couldn't get, and the one I even got is not the color of the fabric I'm using, so I just have to manage it like that since it's for tutorial, and this is my first time doing it, so it does not matter. I can always make another one and get all the necessary materials. So guys, I'm done fixing the zip, and this is my skirt. God, but I actually wish that the length of the skirt was not this long, and I also wish that I didn't use 2 inches for the band. I wish I used something smaller. It's just looking too long to me, but it's very nice, just the length. So like I said, this is for tutorial, so it doesn't matter. This is my first time doing it, so I would love to also see your own skirts too. Please, when you sew your skirt, kindly send it to me on Instagram. My handle is exceptional_mutu. Kindly send it to me on Instagram. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please kindly do that and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much, guys, for watching my video. See you next time. Bye.